Hi friends, and welcome to the next video. In this video, I'm going to talk about why bad drummers think they're great. Okay, so this is something that I encounter a lot. It's quite shocking, quite disturbing, and actually something that happens not only in drumming, but in a lot of things like photography, maybe construction work. I mean, I've seen some botched jobs in construction work. I've seen this one guy who had the reputation, or other guys called him Mr. Miyagi, right? Because he was so precise with his measurements and all this stuff. And then he made a deck for a friend of mine, and his house got flooded when the first big rain came, right? Because the deck was so uneven and made so badly, didn't take into account, the water, or he did, and he just didn't care, or he can't even measure, right? So it's really funny. But this happens a lot in drumming nowadays. And in my opinion, it has to do with something called the Dunning-Kruger effect. I'm sure you're familiar with this. It's a thing, a theory, a train of thought that says you're not aware of what you don't know, so you think you know a lot. Or when you're just starting out with something, you think you know a lot and you don't know anything. I'm sure you've all heard of that Dunning-Kruger thing. And it's a very, very strange thing that people allow themselves to be like that. Perhaps it's the fault of the teacher. Who knows? Another analogy is the big fish in the small pond, right? You're in a little town somewhere and you're the best drummer in that town, right? Nobody can compete against you, but you're in a little town where there's no music, no scene, no nothing, nobody to gauge your talents against. And when you get to New York or wherever, you are a fish and you get thrown into the ocean, you realize you're just a speck of dust, right? So this happens a lot, unfortunately, as well. Now, the thing that irks me the most is when these guys are out there charging money for teaching lessons. That is a great, great tragedy, in my opinion, because they create little clones of themselves that have no market value, okay? Because they don't know how to play music. They're just copying something that this original guy read out of somebody else's book, doesn't even have his own book, probably just took exercises from whatever and made his own little teaching routine with it. That happens a lot. This is something very upsetting for me as far as teachers go. Now, how do you combat this? What you have to do, or the easiest thing to do, is move to a big city like New York, where you will get eaten alive in no time at all. But the benefit is that you'll soon realize where you stand as a drummer, as a musician, right? Now, the most important thing always to keep in mind is that I wouldn't try to rate myself as a drummer so much as I would as a musician, okay? Because the drumming world is relatively small, okay? If you make a career out of only teaching 5-year-old kids, 10-year-old kids, whatever, that's a really limited market. If you want to have a bigger market, you got to learn how to play music, and not only one style of music. Your market increases every time you learn a new genre, and you double your earning capacity basically every time you do that. So it's not that simple, of course, because there's specialists in each area, then you have to start competing with them too. But there's things that you can bring to the table because you know another genre that maybe those specialists that only do that one thing, they don't know. So that's one way to combat it. Move to a big city, okay, that's the obvious thing. But what's another thing you can do? Start learning with somebody who's out there really, really doing it, okay? they're going to guide you in the right way. If you study with someone, for example, who never does any gigs and all they do is, teach children or teach teenagers or whatever, that's not going to be a good strategy, okay? You need somebody that is actually out there doing it. Now, of course, there's the thing where, some players are really good at playing and they suck at teaching. That's gonna be difficult, but what you have to do in many cases is extract the information from them in any way you can. That's been traditionally what you do when you encounter a player like that. Some guys are just impossible and they don't want to show you anything. They just want to take your money. In that case, stay far away from those guys. But there's no need to even go through that, because all you have to do is ask like really good players, who should I study with, or what gig should I go to check out some great music? Why even think that you have to deal with some crazy guy who can't teach but plays great? So that's not necessary at all. Another thing is to find things that have market value in music. All right? Now, if you got a guy, right, that plays twirling the sticks and does a bunch of tricks and circus stuff and has no meat to their playing, there's no market in that. There might be a small market in exhibitions, maybe some kind of a drum show, maybe. All right, even then, in drum shows, there are some incredibly, real great drummers doing those things. So it's going to be hard to get into that, even if you're like dress up like a clown and do your juggling act. That's nobody's going to go for that, and you'll be found out sooner or later. Well, sooner than later. So you have to concentrate on things that have market value. That's your best option in drumming. Now, what are those things? Those things are musicality, your knowledge of genres, your ability to play in different styles, and of course, having your own voice. Okay, there's other qualities too, but having your own voice is super important, because you don't want to sound like everybody else. I mean, if you copy Dave, which is an amazing drummer, Dave Weckl, and you sound exactly like him, which was a phenomenon some years back, why would they call you if they can just call Dave to do that, Unless they want to save, money. But is that really something to build your career on? No. The way you find your own voice is through time, okay? You just have to give it time. Everything around you, everything that influences you, the people around you, the music you listen to, the other musicians you encounter and get to play with, all those things, develop your own voice. Who you study with, that's the most obvious. I'm gonna do a whole separate video about, creating your own voice. Now, the problem with having a voice, there's only one problem. If you have a very particular voice, it's gonna be hard for you to transition into things like playing a show, for example, where you have to be more generic, okay? And just kind of be straight and not do anything crazy, let's say, but you have to be generic and really fit into the music. Now, that's where your artistry, your craftsmanship comes in, right? The ability to mold yourself into each gig. All right, so those are things that define a great drummer. The Dunning-Kruger effect, the big fish in a little pond thing, man, you're not gonna get anywhere if you continue down that road. You might be able to fool some people and get some students and, but eventually you're gonna be really unhappy. I've seen this happen over and over, and what that creates is imposter syndrome also, because eventually, if you get out there, let's say you get out there, right? You get to some drum show and you get to go play in whatever drum show, you're gonna get wiped out, all right, by other cats that are real drummers and not just stick flipping, you know, circus guys. So it's important to be humble and to realize that there are many things that we don't know. I don't know. A lot of guys don't know. It's going to be impossible to know everything. Like I've said in many other videos, it's going to be impossible to know everything. You have to have humility. You can't think you're a great drummer because maybe you're great at Brazilian music, but then you go to play jazz and you suck. You go to play rock, you suck. You go to play music from Trinidad, you suck. You play music from Colombia, you suck, right? Because you only tried that one style of your whole life. So you have to have humility, all right, in front of the drums. Nobody is as important as the drums are. As long as you keep that in mind and you keep your ego in check, you'll be able to grow in peace. And then once you have a body of work together, you can be, let's say, more satisfied, all right? You can be satisfied if you've played a lot of music with different players or you've done some great tracks, you know, that will stay for the rest of your life. They sound great and you know, the music's totally happening. That is a blessing. But then again, that's only one thing. You know, the next thing is gonna come the next thing and like that. Everybody goes through this period, you know, where you listen to recordings of yourself from 20 years ago and you say, oh my God, well, how is that even out there, you know? It happens to everybody. But your ability to stay humble and overcome yourself is what's gonna make the difference. This door that opens when you have humility and you are open to learn and you realize that you don't know anything, you have some ethics, you don't teach people wrong, that is what's gonna make your name in the world, okay? And you'll be able to sleep at night, which is so important. If you talk to any pro, you know, when you have artistic pressures, all these different pressures in your life, and you know, you're trying to balance your life and your career, the ability to sleep well at night, knowing that you're pure at heart and you're a good person and you have morals in business, you know, in the art of drumming, that is invaluable. Okay? So anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, the lesson site is waiting for you. It's the most innovative curriculum in the world, a massive lesson library, and you have me to support you there in every way I can. Okay, folks, hope you enjoyed the video. Peace.